It's mid-morning on WTOC TV Savannah. Take a journey back to the 60s with John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The Beatles, live in person at the Cleveland Stadium. The author of a new book tells us what made the two concerts in Ohio so notorious. It's Mid-Morning Live with Sonny and Jody.
Do you ever scream for the Beatles?
Maybe a little. Actually, I mostly read about them. I don't remember.
Oh, right. The Beatles had a lot of great concerts, to say the least, but what made their two concerts in Cleveland, Ohio, 1964 and 1966, so, shall we say, infamous?
Check out the facts, the photos, and the memories in a new book by Dave Swinson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'll admit, my favorite was Paul.
I was a John guy myself. John,
well, I like the all four of them together, you know?
Together.
Yeah.
It was just a real...
It was magical.
Yes, it was very magical.
Okay, two concerts in Ohio, 1964 and 1966. We don't want to give away the book, but...
Well, you could tell why they were different. They were notorious.
Okay, now wait a minute. We've seen, there's famous video that we've seen of other concerts in California, New York, what have you. And it looks like pandemonium, but apparently what we've seen in these video clips pales by comparison with Cleveland.
Well, you know, I thought my parents took me to see the Beatles in 1966, and I saw this full-blown riot where kids poured out of the stadium, Cleveland Stadium, ran across the baseball infield and got up on the stage with the group, and they tore Paul McCartney's jacket off in the back. They jumped up on the drum platform and took a drumstick out of Ringo Starr's hand.
Oh, wow. Where was I?
The police had to escort him off the stage. It was a riot. And I thought all Beatles concerts were like that. I was a kid. It was my first concert. I thought all concerts were like that. And it wasn't until years later I realized I had seen something very different compared to the New York concerts or Los Angeles or in Atlanta when they performed here. Yeah. The police held everyone back, and the kids got to scream and go wild, but they didn't get to touch them. And the deal was, one of the DJs I've interviewed in my book, Jerry G., said in other cities, the kids wanted to see the Beatles and hear them. In Cleveland, they wanted to touch them.
They wanted to touch them.
And that's what they wanted to take them home with them, for heaven's sake. So what is it with Cleveland and rock and roll? Of course, it is the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It's something in the water. I don't know if it's Lake Erie or what. Maybe we just get too cold up there.
I don't know.
But now, in your book, there's lots of photos, lots of information, first-hand information, as well as lots of interviews.
Yes, I was very surprised that there were still some unpublished photos of the Beatles I dug up that were taken in Cleveland, Ohio. First time was September 15th, 1964, and then August 14th, 1966. There were photos. I talked to people who were with them, who toured with them, were backstage with them. There's a photo on there right now of Jerry G. Bishop, who I interviewed for my book, and he toured with the group. And Bill Harry right there wrote the foreword.
Everybody talked about their hair being so ridiculously long.
Yeah, well, they all thought it was long back then, you know. But what I did was I found the people who were with them, actually on stage with them. I talked to some opening acts and just what were their personalities like. But how did these concerts go together? It's not one of those Beatles books where, say, you know, at 9 o'clock in the morning the Beatles woke up and then they got in a limo went somewhere. No, this is more about the emotions and the excitement of going to a Beatles concert. I mean, we can all sit there and watch a film of the Beatles performing and say, oh, that must have been wild. But I talked to the people who actually put the shows together, who were with them backstage, what they were doing before they went on stage, what they were doing when the riots, they had to run back in the dressing room, what was going on then, what were they talking about. And also a lot of fans who were in the stands and watching this. What were they feeling? What were their emotions?
Wow. Well, we got an opportunity. Some folks can actually sit and visit with you, perhaps, and maybe get their book signed and so forth.
Yes, I'm going to be here in Savannah. I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble at the Oglethorpe Mall.
Not until the 29th.
Not until the 29th.
You're heading to Florida right now, and then you'll be back on the 29th.
Right. I have a book signing tonight in Florida, but I'll be back through here on Saturday, March 29th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Saturday week at 1. There you go.
And what I do is I try to make these more of an event. So I will talk about the book, but I have a very rare video, a 15-minute film of the Beatles' 1966 concert at Cleveland Stadium that many people have not seen before. I don't think anyone has seen this. And I show this. It shows the fans rushing across the field onto the stage. And then I have the first 20 signed books. I have a free audio CD about the two concerts that I give away.
The 29th out at Barnes & Noble. Meet the author. Get your hands on this book if you are at all a Beatles fan, and we all are.
Oh, yeah.
I want to read this.
Big time. Thanks much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for stopping here on your way through.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Had a good
Safe
time.
journeys to Florida.